right, we are on Kat's account, and so we're going to be doing a Fire Night refresh. We're going to see if we can get some improvement. She is on normal 20, which in some ways is the most efficient way for tournaments per energy to progress in Fire Night. Now, Fire Night itself, I think you're better served going in and playing in hard and working up to hard 10, mostly because of this regeneration gear. And one of the things that Kat is struggling with on her account is going to be Sand Devil with Godseeker, which requires amazing regeneration gear. And there's no mythical gear in normal. There's no mythical gear in normal, but in hard, there is. And going up into hard 10, you can get up to a 5% drop rate on hard 10 of mythical gear, with about a third of that, or 1.6%, being mythical 6-star gear. Of course, it's going to be a chance. And, these gear sets are, regeneration is one that is going to serve that particular situation best. And there's also Savage, which is ignore. This is an important one. Savage, ignore 25% of enemy defense. So those are the two super important gear that you can get in Fire Night, and Fire Night is going to be the biggest pain as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you have not done so already, click the link in the description. Why? Because you're going to get Corrado, Ugo, Fane, and Deacon. We're going to try to use Deacon today. I wonder if we can get use out of Deacon. Sun Wukong, if you use promo code Monkey King in the first 24 hours, and then also if you log in for 7 days, you're going to get Papadisi. So we're going to just kind of hang out here and try to get Kat's account up and running. The first thing that I'm going to do when I am trying to tune her account is I'm going to use what they call the artifact extractor tool from Hell Hades. Now, there was an update today, so we're kind of inconvenienced at the moment because I have to update it. So I'll show you what I mean. It's anytime there's a new patch, and today was a new patch, I have to update the software, and we'll see how this goes. Also, the same is true with the RSL helper, and sometimes that is delayed, but I found that the Hell's Hades one is pretty much up to date. Now, that only works on a PC client, so that can be a big inconvenience for one if you're not playing on a PC client and you're only playing, let's say, on your phone. I have found it to be very hard to play just on your phone. In fact, I have a dedicated tablet to play. So we're approaching server reset, which is in the next 6-7 minutes. And this is my account. And then Kat also told me, I said, hey, I'm going to be playing on your account. She's like, will you take my tablet away from me so I don't accidentally log in? So yeah, we have to play on separate devices to get the most out of Raid Shadow Legends. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to upload her account to the website and just see what she's doing. So we're going to let that run in the background. But in the meantime, I want to see what team she's actually working, because the main thing about Fire Night Castle is going to be, okay, she is using Deacon. I figure she's using Deacon. Boy, she doesn't even have all these champions up to, she doesn't have all these champions up that she's using here. This is a 5-star, So the other thing too is that the way that Fire Night works changes when you get into hard. So let's turn super raids off and let's just do a battle like that and just see how this works. I think she does this all the time. I'm saving her team so that way I can restore it if I don't make it worse. And then we're gonna start tweaking her account and finding out what works best for her. One of the things that I'm gonna do immediately on the Hell Hades website is I'm gonna go in, and there's a tier list, right? And there's a tier list. This is fine, but and then hit show my champs. And this is going to create a tier list based off of what she has, which is fantastic. Now I'm going to click hard mode, and we're going to go in for Fire Night. And so we are going to take a look at some of these champions and see what she has upgraded. And I knew that this was going to be one of the key characters. Any kind of assist or freeze is going to be of high value, but I'm not sure if she has any of these champions here upgraded enough to be of any value inside of Fire Knight. So maybe all we'll be able to accomplish today is get it up to like 25. Maybe we'll do hard 1. I don't know. And on my personal account, I can only do hard 8 because hard 9 is the wrong affinity for the champions that I like to use, and I can't get through hard 9. I'm pretty sure I could do hard 10, but if I can't do hard 9, I can't get to hard 10. So that will be a separate video altogether. Okay, so this is the team she's doing. We'll be back in a minute and see what we can make work.
Eventually.
All right, so this is somewhat of a limited success. We are going into Fire Knight 25. I think there's zero chance to move on to hard because the mechanics between the normal Fire Knight and what works on the normal Fire Knight will not work on hard Fire Knight. And I think for Kat's account, the best example of what is going to work on this boss that is not going to work in 10 is going to be the turn meter reduction that's coming from Geomancer. That's just why this match works, is Geomancer is able to strip away the turn meter, which does not work in hard unless you're using freeze. And so the general strategy for hard is to get to the boss, and you may have to have a character that gets you to the boss because the minions here on the 2 waves are very challenging. But then when you get there, you're gonna depend on like an assist champion like Mikage or Farakin, who I was telling her to maybe possibly up, or Lanicus, some of those champions. And then you need to hit with champions that have basic freeze. So she does have some of that, like, but the way this is working here, she's getting massive amounts of turn meter from Geomancer, so it's good. So all I really did in changing up her team is I put Theo and I put in Thor. I took out Alice, which wasn't really adding anything to the fight that Thor wasn't, and then Theodore is better than the 5-star epic that she was using. Of course, multi-hit is the key to it. You got to get through all of the shields, right? And so that's where a character like Coldheart is going to come in and do a lot of taps to get through the shields. Now, once you get through the shields, you can start putting negative effects and all kinds of good stuff can happen here, right? So you can see they're applying. But you see the turn meter got reduced right there from Geomancer, and also Deacon's going to be reducing the turn meter. It's just not going to work in hard the same way that it does in normal. So it's an entirely different boss, and that's why there is a complete separate, list of champions specifically on Kat's account. So this is like all of her characters that will do well in Fire Knight normal, where she has a very small list of characters. Really, if we look at this list, she's got 2 champions, Coldheart and Yakarl, that have 4.5 or 5 ratings, versus these are all 4.5 or 5, right? And so I think for her, looking at this list, I think she should focus on Thor, who she's going to be using in so many different game modes, and Farakin can use MobileGamer. Yakarl, maybe. If she's into it, she could do Coldheart and Yakarl. But these are going to be the 4 that I tell her to work on, specifically just Thor. I think that's just going to be her homework, is work on Thor. Book him, all of the masteries, all of that stuff. In fact, I think she should be using Thor in Arena anyways, because he's just insane. So that's going to be the suggestion is, finish up Thor, and then, keep doing what you're doing. But now she can get through 25, but there's no chance she's getting through hard, because hard is just the mechanics are different. It's just that simple. The mechanics are different. And you're gonna have to depend on characters that do multi-taps, and then once he's, his shield is not in front of him, to keep it into this loop to get the W is going to be another hassle. And I do think she needs the gear. She's in dire need of the regeneration gear, which is going to be the next step for her doing well in Sand Devil, is having, a combination of regeneration plus immortal gear. So her homework is work on Thor. I think I'm just going to keep it simple. Just work on Thor. All right, if you haven't done so already, click the link in the description. Yeah, fix an amazing character. Just work on an amazing character, Cat. Boy, this is like really bad. Ugo's good. Deacon's good. Deacon is the champion that you get at level 40 who's using it in the video day. I would on these champions that are here on the screen that you get by using the promo code, focus on Ugo, focus on Deacon, focus on Sun Wukong, and you got to use Monkey King in the first 24 hours to get Sun Wukong. So that is my suggestion for her, is work on Thor. Work on Thor, Cat. All right, bye for now.